Welcome back to Old is Gold, where we uncover artifacts that didn't just survive history, they changed it. Today, we're in the massive Gothic splendor of Cologne Cathedral in Germany to meet a wooden sculpture that is over 1,000 years old. This is the Garrow Cross. It's not the world's oldest cross, but it holds a spectacular title. It is the oldest monumental sculpture of the crucified Christ north of the Alps, dating to around 970 AD. But its age isn't the most important thing about it. Its artistic innovation is. Before this piece, depictions of Christ on the cross were generally triumphant. Eyes wide open, head held high, a king overcoming death. They showed the divine side of the figure. But look closely at the Garrow Cross. This is the earliest known Western depiction of a dead Christ. The head is heavy and slumped, the eyelids are closed, and the body is strained, with a realistic bulge over the stomach. This was a radical artistic moment. It was the first time a major work emphasized Christ's humanity and his physical suffering. It invited the viewer to empathize, to feel the raw emotion of the sacrifice. This shift in focus changed religious art across Europe, giving birth to the naturalistic, suffering crucifixes we see everywhere today. Every subsequent depiction of a suffering Christ owes a debt to this piece. The cross was commissioned by Archbishop Garrow of Cologne, who died just a few years after its completion. It marked a powerful moment for the Ottonian dynasty, placing Cologne at the center of artistic and religious thought. And of course, a treasure this old has a legend. An 11th century chronicle claims that the original oak crucifix cracked during construction. Archbishop Garrow, refusing to see the work destroyed, performed a miracle. He supposedly prayed, spat on his hand, and used the saliva to magically seal the massive crack in the oak wood, a sign that the sculpture itself was blessed. The cross was a powerful icon, possibly even holding a relic of the true cross and being used to house the Eucharist, making it a focus of intense pilgrimage and worship. The Garrow Cross remains in the very city for which it was created, hanging in its own chapel within the immense cathedral. It's a silent, wooden testament to a turning point, the moment when Christian art shifted from depicting the triumph of the divine to celebrating the vulnerability of the human. If you love diving deep into these ancient stories, make sure you hit that subscribe button for more episodes of Old is Gold. Welcome back to Old is Gold, where we explore the artifacts and stories that history tried to bury. Today, we're not digging for antique furniture or vintage cars. We're unearthing forbidden knowledge. The year was 1945. In the sands of Upper Egypt, near the town of Nag Hammadi, a farmer made a discovery that would rewrite the early history of one of the world's largest religions. He found a large, sealed clay jar containing 13 leather-bound papyrus codices. These were the 13 books of Revelation, preserved for over 16 centuries. Inside were 52 texts, written in Coptic, but originating from the very earliest days of Christianity. Texts known previously only as rumors, as dangerous heresies, or as footnotes in the angry sermons of ancient bishops. This collection, now famously known as the Nag Hammadi Library, is a window into Gnosticism, an early, diverse branch of Christianity. Gnosis, from the Greek word for knowledge, suggests that salvation isn't found through faith alone, but through secret, mystical insight into the divine nature of the universe. These Gnostic writers offered a dazzling, yet complex, alternative vision of the world. They gave us the Gospel of Thomas, a stark collection of 114 secret sayings from Jesus, utterly devoid of crucifixion or resurrection narratives. They presented the Apocryphon of John, a wild cosmological myth where the material world was created by an inferior, ignorant deity. This library reveals a version of early Christianity that was vibrant, often revolutionary, and dramatically different from the orthodoxy that eventually prevailed. These texts questioned the very fabric of existence. They argued that the soul was a divine spark, trapped in a dark, material prison. But why were these 13 books buried? The answer lies in the intense theological battles of the 4th century. As the Orthodox Christian Church consolidated its power and defined its canon, the official books of the Bible, these Gnostic works were declared heretical. A powerful bishop of the time commanded that all non-canonical texts be destroyed. Sometime after that decree, a small community, perhaps monks from a nearby monastery, chose not to burn these books, but to hide them. They sealed this Gnostic library in a jar, ensuring its preservation for modern eyes. For 1,600 years, they lay silent. Their rediscovery has done more than just fill a historical gap. It forces us to ask, what voices were silenced? What alternative paths did Christianity almost take? And what does it mean to uncover a forgotten lineage of spiritual thought? These 13 books of Revelation are more than just old texts. They are a profound challenge to our understanding of the past, a spiritual treasure that reminds us the truth is often far more complex and diverse than the official records would lead us to believe. We've only scratched the surface of these phenomenal discoveries. If you want to dive deeper into the mysteries of the ancient world and celebrate the artifacts that time forgot, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and remember, old is gold. Every legend starts somewhere small. For Harley-Davidson, the sound of their first thunderous roar didn't come from a big city factory, but from a tiny 10 by 15-foot wooden shed in a Milwaukee backyard. Welcome to Old is Gold, where we uncover the humble beginnings of automotive giants. Today we're going back to 1903 to meet a machine that is, quite literally, the foundation of an American icon, serial number 1. This isn't just an old motorcycle. It's the physical proof that two childhood friends, William S. Harley and Arthur Davidson, changed the world. In the early 1900s, motorized transport was mostly an experiment. William Harley, just 21, and Arthur Davidson wanted a bike that could help them conquer Milwaukee's notorious hills. Their first machine wasn't a powerful cruiser, it was a motor bicycle. They took a standard bicycle frame and bolted on a small Ponal single-cylinder engine with a displacement of just $167 cubic centimeters. This first prototype was, well, it was underpowered. The rider still had to pedal furiously to get the bike up those hills, a fact that both frustrated and motivated the inventors. They quickly went back to the drawing board, redesigning the engine to $405 cubic centimeters. They replaced the flimsy bicycle frame with a more robust loop frame design, similar to the one you see on the museum piece today. This was it. This was the birth of the Harley-Davidson Model 1. While a functional prototype was ready in 1904, the real business began in 1905. That year, the Harley-Davidson Motor Company produced its very first run of motorcycles, about a dozen machines. One of their first major sales was to Carl H. Lang, a Chicago dealer. Think about that, from a backyard shed to a dealer in a major city. The demand was instant, and the following year, production jumped to 50 motorcycles. This Model 1 motorcycle was belt-driven and used an inlet over-exhaust single engine. Its top speed was only about 40 miles per hour, and while it was primitive by modern standards, it was a reliable, well-engineered machine that quickly earned the nickname, the Silent Gray Fellow. What we call serial number 1 today is more of a time capsule. It's a preserved testament to that first year of production, featuring that essential 1903 engine design and the subsequent 1905 frame. It embodies the true old is gold spirit. It's a story of persistence, engineering, and the start of a legendary sound. Without this initial single-cylinder bike, there would be no knucklehead, no panhead, and no massive V-twins that define the company today. It set the tone for Harley-Davidson's commitment to quality, its distinctive style, and the brand loyalty that has lasted over a century. The next time you hear a Harley rumble, remember that small shed and the ambition of those two young men. If this slice of American history fueled your passion, hit that like button and let me know in the comments what vintage machine we should feature next. And be sure to subscribe to Old is Gold. We've got more legends waiting to roll. Thanks for watching. Hey gold hunters, and welcome back to Old is Gold. Today we're wrapping a legendary mystery around our wrists. For centuries, men kept their time tucked safely in their pockets. A watch worn on the wrist was just a novelty, usually a piece of ladies' jewelry. But one day, that changed. The question is, which watch was truly the first? The answer is complicated, contested, and absolutely golden. Our journey begins in 1810 with the most convincing, yet tragically lost, claim. The master watchmaker was Abraham Louis Breguet, a legend whose name is still synonymous with high horology. His client was none other than Caroline Murat, the Queen of Naples and sister to Napoleon Bonaparte. The Queen was a loyal customer, and in 1810 she commissioned a unique piece. Breguet's archives record the order for a repeater watch for bracelet, a watch specifically designed from the start to be worn on the wrist. This piece, known as Breguet number 2639, was finally delivered in 1812. Think about that, 1810. A complicated, oval-shaped timepiece with a strap made of hair and gold threads. It was the first purpose-built wristwatch. The only problem? The watch itself has vanished, leaving behind only the paper trail. Because the Breguet is lost, the title of the oldest surviving wristwatch goes to our second contender, created decades later. In 1868, Swiss powerhouse Patek Philippe created a magnificent piece for the Countess Koskowitz of Hungary. This was a dazzling, key-winding gold bracelet watch. Once again, primarily a piece of high-end jewelry for a woman of status. This watch is famous because it still exists. You can find it in the Patek Philippe Museum. So while it wasn't first in time, it holds the record for being the oldest known, existing, and authenticated wristwatch. This is the one that proves the concept was definitely a reality, but the wristwatch didn't conquer the world until it became useful. And for that, we jump forward to 1904. Meet aviation pioneer Alberto Santos Dumont. When he flew, fumbling for a pocket watch was impossible. He complained to his friend jeweler Louis Cartier that he needed a timepiece he could use hands-free. Cartier's solution was the Cartier Santos. It was flat, squared, and designed with a strap and lugs specifically for the wrist. Crucially, it was the first watch designed for a man, not as jewelry, but as a practical instrument. This moment, along with the necessity of synchronized timing on the battlefields of World War I a decade later, is what finally pushed the wristwatch to dominate the world. Is it the documented Breguet from 1810, the blueprint for the form? Is it the tangible Patek Philippe from 1868, the oldest one we can actually hold? Or is it the Cartier Santos from 1904, the piece that made the concept practical? We want to know what you think. Let us know in the comments, which one deserves the title of the world's oldest wristwatch? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more golden history. Today, we're not just looking at something old, we're looking at the very beginning of an era that changed everything. We're talking about the ancestor of all steam locomotives, a machine that harks back to a time when coal was king and the Industrial Revolution was just firing up. Get ready to meet the Puffing Billy. Imagine the year 1813. Napoleon is still a major force in Europe, Jane Austen is writing her timeless novels, and in the gritty coal fields near Newcastle upon Tyne in England, a quiet revolution is taking shape. Coal needed to be moved from the Wylam Colliery to the River Tyne, a distance of about 5 miles. Horses were doing the heavy lifting, but they were expensive, slow, and prone to fatigue. The colliery owners needed a better way. Enter William Hedley, the colliery's viewer, essentially its manager, and his ingenious team, Jonathan Forster and Timothy Hackworth. They weren't just thinking of a better horse, they were thinking steam. Inspired by earlier, less successful steam experiments, they designed a locomotive that would run on rails, pulling wagons with unprecedented power. And so in 1813 or early 1814, Puffing Billy was born. This wasn't just any locomotive. Puffing Billy was revolutionary for several reasons. Firstly, it employed 4 driving wheels connected by gears, distributing its weight evenly and increasing traction, crucial for moving heavy loads. Its unique design meant the wheels didn't have flanges. Instead, the rails were flanged. But perhaps its most significant innovation was the use of a blast pipe in the chimney, which used exhaust steam to create a powerful draft, making the fire burn hotter and the engine more efficient. This was a concept that would become fundamental to locomotive design for the next century. For nearly 50 years, Puffing Billy faithfully served the Wylam Colliery, a testament to its robust construction. Think about that. Half a century of hauling coal, day in and day out. It finally retired from service in 1862, but its story didn't end there. Recognizing its immense historical significance, it was eventually acquired and meticulously preserved. Today, you can see this incredible piece of engineering history at the Science Museum in London, a silent monument to the dawn of the railway age. From this humble, puffing billy sprang a lineage of giants that would connect continents, drive economies, and shrink the world. It's not flashy, it's not fast by today's standards, but it's where it all began. It truly is a golden piece of our past. Every time you pay for a coffee, check your bank account, or tap your phone, you are using an idea that is over 2,700 years old. It's the very concept of money, and it all started right here. This is the Lydian lion, and it's not just an old artifact, it's the single most important piece of currency in history. For the first time on Old as Gold, we're going back to the 7th century BCE, to the wealthy kingdom of Lydia. Before this, trade was difficult. If you wanted to buy a goat, you had to weigh out a lump of gold, hoping the seller's scales were honest. It was slow, chaotic, and lacked trust. The Lydians changed everything. Along the gold-rich Pactolus River, they discovered a naturally occurring alloy called electrum, a mix of gold and silver. And under their king, Aliats, they took this metal and stamped it with the symbol of the royal house, a roaring lion. This wasn't just a decoration. The lion stamp was a royal guarantee. It told every merchant, trader, and citizen, this metal has been checked, its weight is correct, and its value is approved by the king. This standardization was the birth of the true coin. It made transactions faster, safer, and completely revolutionized commerce. Once invented, the idea spread like wildfire. The Greeks quickly adopted coinage, leading to the sophisticated monetary systems of Athens and Rome. The Lydians even advanced the system, with the final king, Croesus, who gave us the phrase, rich as Croesus, pioneering the first coins of pure gold and pure silver. This bimetallic system became the model for empires for thousands of years. The Lydian lion is more than just the oldest coin in the world. It's the physical starting line of global economics. It transformed a system of slow, laborious bartering into a system of quick, universally trusted exchange. It's a tiny piece of metal that birthed the modern world. It truly is astonishing how a simple idea from ancient Lydia still influences every transaction we make today. Do you have a favorite ancient coin? Let us know in the comments. And if you want to keep exploring the amazing stories where old is gold, be sure to smash that subscribe button. Hey, there Old is Gold fans, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into the birthplace of modern timekeeping. This small, ornate gilded sphere isn't just a historical artifact. It is widely considered to be the oldest known portable working timepiece in the world, the 500-year-old Pomander watch, or Watch 1505. For centuries, time was told by church bells and massive tower clocks. But this tiny device changed everything, pioneering the very idea of personal time, the idea that you could carry time on your body. But its journey from its creation to its modern discovery is a mystery worthy of its own time capsule. Let's go back to 1505 in Nuremberg, Germany. This is where a locksmith named Peter Henlein created this marvel. Now, Henlein was a locksmith, not an official watchmaker. That profession didn't even exist yet. But he was a genius who solved one of the Renaissance's biggest engineering problems: how to miniaturize a clock mechanism. The secret was the coiled mainspring. This compact invention allowed him to power a clock without heavy weights and pendulums, making it portable. And where did he do this groundbreaking work? While in hiding. Henlein was forced to take asylum in a local Franciscan monastery, where he spent 4 years shielded from the law. It's believed he created the 1505 watch within the monastery's walls, perfecting the miniature mechanism. And because he wasn't an accredited watchmaker, he had to hide his mark. Microscopic initials, PH, were found tucked away inside the watch, a secret signature from the man who helped invent personal time. Now, the design itself is fascinating. It's called a pomander watch because it mimics a pomander, which was a fashionable spherical container for perfume, like musk. In the 6th century, cities weren't exactly known for hygiene, and people wore pomanders to ward off bad smells and even disease. This watch was a mashup of technology and high society fashion. The sphere splits open to reveal a smaller inner hemisphere with a dial displaying both Roman and Arabic numerals. This wasn't just a way to tell time, it was a powerful status symbol, combining Oriental fashion with German engineering. While there are other early pomander watches, like the 1530 Melanchthon watch, the 1505, remains the most compelling as the earliest surviving complete example. It runs for about 12 hours on a single wind, which, for the time, was an astounding feat of engineering. But the story doesn't end in the Renaissance. The 1505 was lost to history until 1987, when it was reportedly found in a box of scrap parts at a London flea market and sold for a mere £10. Its authenticity was debated for years, with many experts calling it a fake. It took metallurgical analysis, CT scans, and a dedicated committee of experts to finally confirm its age and historical importance in 2014. Today, this priceless artifact, valued at potentially tens of millions of dollars, is held in private ownership. From a secret creation in a monastery to a forgotten box of junk, the Pomander Watch is a 500-year-old reminder that even the smallest, most beautiful pieces of technology can have the most dramatic stories. What piece of history should we explore next? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Welcome back to Old is Gold, the channel where we unearth treasures from history and celebrate the ingenuity of the past. Today we're looking at something truly revolutionary, an artifact that changed the course of warfare forever, and quite possibly the world. We're talking about the Heilongjiang hand cannon. When we think of firearms, our minds often jump to sleek pistols or powerful rifles. But where did it all begin? For centuries, historians debated the true origin of the gun. Was it Europe? The Middle East? The answer, it turns out, lies much further east, in China. And in 1970, that answer was solidified with an incredible archaeological discovery in what is now Heilongjiang province. What you're seeing here is often cited as the oldest confirmed surviving firearm in the world. This isn't just a theory. Carbon dating and historical context place its creation no later than 1288 CE. Think about that for a moment. We're talking about the late 13th century, a full century before the famed European handguns began to appear. Cast from sturdy bronze, this small but mighty weapon is only about 34 centimeters, or roughly 13 inches long. It weighs around 3.5 kilograms, about 7.5 pounds. Look closely at its design. You can see the distinct bulbous powder chamber, a common feature in these earliest firearms. This thicker base was essential to withstand the explosive force of the black powder, a dangerous new propellant also invented in China centuries earlier. So how did this ancient weapon work? It was rudimentary, to say the least. Black powder would be poured into the chamber, followed by a wad, and then the projectile, most likely pea-sized stones, ceramic shards, or even a modified arrow. There was no trigger, no elaborate firing mechanism. Instead, a small touch hole at the top allowed a soldier to manually ignite the powder with a hot poker or a piece of slow-burning matchcord. Imagine the chaos, the smoke, and the sheer nerve required to operate one of these in battle. The historical record confirms its use. Texts like the History of Yuan describe fire-spitting lances and other gunpowder weapons being deployed by Yuan dynasty forces in 1287 and 1288, particularly against the Neian Rebellion. This bronze hand cannon perfectly fits that description, providing concrete evidence of firearms on the battlefield during that period. The Heilongjiang hand cannon stands as a powerful testament to Chinese innovation. It marks a critical leap from the earlier fire lance, which was essentially a bamboo tube with gunpowder, to a true metal-barreled gun. It wasn't just a weapon, it was the genesis of a technology that would spread across continents, reshape warfare, and eventually lead to every firearm we know today. Truly, an old gold that changed everything. What do you think about the Heilongjiang hand cannon? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Old is Gold for more journeys into history. See you next time. History's greatest kings and emperors demanded legacies that would last forever, but only one built an entire underground city for his afterlife. We're talking about the mausoleum of the first Qin emperor, Qin Shi Huang, in China. When you hear the name, you probably think of the terracotta army, but those 8,000 soldiers are just a single incredible chamber in a complex that spans an unbelievable 56.25 square kilometers. This isn't a tomb. It's the largest tomb complex in the world, a massive subterranean mirror of his capital city. The terracotta army is the entry point to this eternal empire. Discovered by farmers in 1974, this force, featuring generals, archers, cavalry, and even horses, was created to protect the emperor in the next world. Take a moment to appreciate the scale. No two faces are exactly alike. They were once vibrantly painted, and they stand in precise military formation, ready for battle. But the terracotta warriors only guard the first perimeter. Beyond the army, archaeologists have found pits containing bronze chariots, stables, a menagerie, and even pits of bronze acrobats and civil officials. Qin Shi Huang didn't just bring his army, he brought his entire imperial court with him. This brings us to the biggest mystery, the actual burial mound itself. It's over 76 meters tall, and it has never been opened. Why? Because history tells us what's inside, and it is terrifying. The ancient historian Sima Qian described a chamber of unimaginable opulence, modeled after the world the emperor knew. The ceiling was adorned with jewels and pearls to represent the stars and constellations. The floor? It depicted the lands of China, with the Yangtze and Yellow rivers flowing with real liquid mercury. Modern science has actually confirmed this. Soil samples taken from the mound show mercury concentrations are far higher than normal. And to protect all this treasure, the accounts describe booby traps, crossbows set to fire automatically upon any intruder. The fear of mercury poisoning is real, but the primary reason the tomb remains sealed is a matter of respect and preservation. Experts worry that once the millennia-old artifacts are exposed to air, they will crumble and degrade before they can be saved. The emperor's palace waits, perfectly preserved, until our technology catches up to his ambition. Qin Shi Huang was the man who unified China, standardized its writing, and began the Great Wall. His mausoleum is the ultimate statement of that power, a ruler who refused to let death diminish his empire. This massive 56-square-kilometer complex reminds us that in the old is gold world, some treasures are so profound, we haven't even finished uncovering them. Hit the like button if you want to see a deep dive on those mercury rivers. And don't forget to subscribe for more secrets from the ancient world. Welcome to Old is Gold. Every treasure hunter has a holy grail, that single, legendary prize that eclipses all others. For the underwater world, that prize is the San José galleon. Sunk more than 3 centuries ago, this Spanish warship wasn't carrying a king's fortune. It was carrying the equivalent of a nation's treasury. It is, without a doubt, the single most valuable treasure ever lost at sea, currently estimated to be worth up to $20 billion. The year was 1708. Europe was gripped by the War of the Spanish Succession. To finance its armies, Spain needed gold, and the San José was tasked with the most important mission, transporting a massive haul of New World riches from its colonies in modern-day Peru and Bolivia back to King Philip V. Her cargo manifest was mind-boggling: over 200 tons of silver, countless crates of precious emeralds, and a staggering 11 million gold and silver coins, all paid for through the brutal exploitation of colonial resources. But on June 8th, just off the coast of Cartagena, Colombia, the Spanish fleet was ambushed by a British squadron. In the fierce naval conflict known as Wager's Action, the San José, a powerful 64-gun galleon, met a catastrophic end. Its powder magazines were struck, resulting in a massive explosion that ripped the ship apart. In minutes, the flagship, 600 souls, and the multi-billion-dollar fortune were swallowed by the Caribbean Sea, settling on the seabed over 2,000 feet below the waves. For 307 years, the San José lay in the crushing darkness, its exact location a tantalizing mystery. But the modern hunt for the Holy Grail was relentless. While a U.S. salvage company claimed to find it in the 1980s, it wasn't until 2015 that the Colombian Navy, using advanced underwater robots, confirmed its location through distinct bronze cannons etched with dolphins. The secret coordinates are now one of the most protected sites on Earth, and this brings us to the present. The discovery is confirmed, but the riches remain at the center of an international storm. Colombia claims it as national cultural patrimony. Spain insists it's a sovereign military vessel, and the U.S. salvagers are suing for a $10 billion cut. As the world watches, Colombia prepares to finally recover what many call the greatest treasure ever discovered. The question is no longer where it is, but who will finally claim the $20 billion fortune. We'll keep you updated right here on Old is Gold. Hello, history hounds and vintage vultures, and welcome back to Old is Gold. Today, we're not just talking about old wine. We're talking about a bottle that predates the invention of the compass, the modern calendar, and even the existence of countries we know today. We're talking about an object so ancient, it's less a beverage and more a silent witness to the rise and fall of empires. This is the incredible story of the Spire wine bottle, the oldest known unopened bottle of wine in the world. Our story begins not in a vineyard, but in a Roman tomb, almost 1,700 years ago. Picture this. It's the year 1867 in what is now the Rhineland-Palatinate region of Germany, near the city of Speyer. Archaeologists are excavating a nobleman's grave from the 4th century, the era of the Roman Empire. Roman tradition held that the dead needed provisions for their journey to the afterlife, and for a wealthy Roman, that meant a healthy supply of wine. They unearthed 16 glass vessels. All of them were either broken or empty, except one. That single, miraculous survivor is the Spire wine bottle. It is dated between 325 and 350 AD, making it older than a millennium and a half. Take a look at it. It's a 1.5-liter yellow-green glass vessel with distinctive dolphin-shaped handles, a work of art even before you consider its age. But how did it survive for so long? When ancient Roman winemakers prepared this bottle for the tomb, they used a remarkable preservation trick. To prevent the wine from oxidizing, they poured in a large amount of thick, liquid olive oil. Being lighter than the wine, the oil floated on top, forming an airtight layer. That layer has since solidified into a waxy substance. Finally, they sealed the entire neck of the bottle with a thick plug of hot wax. It's that unique combination of oil and wax that has kept the liquid inside stable for 17 centuries. No cork needed, just pure, ingenious Roman chemistry. The bottle has been housed at the Historical Museum of the Palatinate in Speyer ever since its discovery, displayed right there in its own little tower room, an object of fascination for millions. But there is one huge question that has plagued historians, chemists, and oenophiles for decades. Should we open it? Curators have stated that they've seen no change in the contents in over 25 years. But the moment that oil and wax seal is broken, the delicate equilibrium that has held the liquid together for 1,700 years would be destroyed. Exposing the ancient chemicals to modern air could cause a reaction. Perhaps a spectacular fizzle, perhaps a dangerous explosion, or perhaps just a sad, disappointing evaporation. As one expert suggested, even if you could drink it, the taste would likely be more like tasteless chewing gum than fine wine. The ethanol is probably long gone, and what remains is a mixture of water, herbs, minerals, and that heavy dose of olive oil. So for now, the secret of the Speyer bottle remains locked inside. It stands as a testament to the longevity of human craftsmanship and the enduring power of history. It's not a bottle of wine anymore, it's a time capsule. And perhaps, like many relics of the past, its story, the one we're telling right now, is far more valuable than anything we might find if we finally chose to open it. What do you think? If you had the final say, would you crack the seal on this ancient artifact? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into things that prove old is gold. We'll see you next time. Look into this face. It's over 3,300 years old, yet it possesses a timeless beauty that still captivates millions. This is the Nefertiti Bust, and it's arguably the most famous female face to survive from the ancient world. Nefertiti means the beautiful one has come. But her story is far more complex than just her stunning looks. She wasn't just a queen, she was the principal wife of the radical pharaoh Akhenaten, and together they fundamentally changed Egyptian religion and art in one of history's most fascinating periods, the Amarna era. Now, if you think this sculpture looks perfect, that's because it was designed to be. It was crafted around 1340 BCE by the master sculptor Thutmose. And here is the first major clue to its old is gold status. It was never meant for a tomb or a temple. This artifact was discovered in Thutmose's workshop in the ruined city of Amarna. It's believed to be a modello, an artist's three-dimensional sketch, used by his students to copy her official portraits. This explains the incredible quality and the mystery of the missing left eye inlay. It wasn't chipped out by time or vandals. It was likely never finished, left incomplete in the artist's studio over 3 millennia ago. Imagine finding a masterpiece sketch by Leonardo da Vinci, but one half finished. Its discovery was equally dramatic. In 1912, a German archaeological team led by Ludwig Borchardt unearthed it, buried in the rubble of the workshop. Borchardt wrote in his diary, "Description is useless, must be seen." He packed it up, and through a controversial division of fines with the Egyptian authorities, a practice known as partage, the bust was allocated to the German side and swiftly taken to Berlin. Since its public debut in Berlin in 1924, the Nefertiti bust has become more than just art. It's a symbol of international conflict. Egypt has repeatedly demanded the bust be repatriated, arguing that it was acquired under dubious circumstances and should be returned to its homeland. Germany, however, has consistently refused, citing its long history in Berlin and its irreplaceable role in the city's museum collections. This cultural tug-of-war is what makes the bust truly relevant today. It forces us to ask tough questions about history, colonialism, and who truly owns the treasures of the past. Despite the controversy, the Nefertiti bust remains an absolute triumph of ancient artistry. Made of a limestone core covered with thin layers of painted stucco, its survival is a miracle. It has endured the fall of an empire, the turmoil of 2 world wars, and the scrutiny of modern science. Today, Nefertiti sits in the Neues Museum in Berlin, drawing crowds who gaze upon a face that is the very definition of old is gold. It's a testament to the skill of a forgotten master and the enduring power of a queen. What do you think? Should the bust be returned to Egypt, or should it stay in Berlin? Let me know in the comments below. Imagine holding a piece of history so rare that only 7 others were known to exist, all locked away in museums. Now imagine finding the 8th one in a muddy field. This is the incredible story of the Henry III gold penny, a coin lost for over 760 years. In 2021, an amateur detectorist in Hemyock, Devon, made a chance discovery, initially unaware he'd unearthed the most valuable single coin find ever made on British soil, selling for a staggering £648,000. But this coin is more than just a metal detectorist's dream. It's a literal gold snapshot of a king desperately trying to finance a failing dynasty. The history behind this coin is fascinating. Before 1257, England's economy relied entirely on silver pennies. Gold coins simply weren't minted here. King Henry III decided to change that, but not for purely economic reasons. According to expert analysis by Professor David Carpenter, Henry had spent years accumulating a massive personal gold treasure, demanding that payments be made in gold to fund ambitious overseas projects. In 1257, he instructed his goldsmith, William of Gloucester, to mint this treasure into roughly 80,000 gold pennies. But his plans changed. Facing a growing military threat from the Welsh prince Llewellyn ap Gruffydd, Henry was forced to use his personal wealth to raise an army, sending his newly minted gold into circulation to pay his troops. This gold penny was a statement. On the obverse, it features the king seated on a lavish throne, holding his orb and scepter, the first portrait of an English king since William the Conqueror nearly 200 years earlier. It was designed to project majesty and power. However, the coin was a financial disaster. It was set at a value of 20 silver pennies, but its actual gold content was soon worth more. Merchants quickly realized they could melt the coin down for a profit, and the public found a coin worth 20 days' wages far too large for everyday transactions. The king was eventually forced to recall the coinage, and the vast majority were melted down. This is why only a handful survived, usually lost treasures like the one in Devon. So, how did this rare coin end up buried in a Devon field? Professor Carpenter's research traced it back to a local lord, John de Hayden of Hemyock Manor, who helped Henry III fund his campaigns and likely received the coin as payment during the Welsh expedition. It may have simply fallen from his pocket or a laborer's and lay forgotten for centuries. This gold penny is more than just currency. It's a tangible link to a pivotal moment when a king used his personal wealth for war, ultimately resulting in a brilliant but ill-fated experiment in English coinage. It is truly an extraordinary piece of gold history. What do you think of Henry III's golden mistake? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more Old is Gold history. Welcome to Old is Gold. Today we're stepping back over 700 years to look at a piece of furniture that isn't just an antique. It's a dramatic, splintered, and graffitied survivor of British history. Forget museum velvet. This is the oldest chair in England still used for its original high-stakes purpose, the coronation chair. It lives appropriately in Westminster Abbey, but its story doesn't begin in London. It starts with an act of war. In 1296, King Edward I, known as the Hammer of the Scots, seized the legendary Stone of Scone, a sacred slab used for crowning Scottish kings, and brought it to England as a prize. He immediately commissioned a carpenter named Walter of Durham to build a magnificent, high-backed, Gothic-style oak case to house it. That chair, completed around 1300, is what we see today. For 7 centuries, from Henry IV in 1399, right up to King Charles III in 2023, every single crowned English and British monarch has been seated upon it. It is, quite simply, the oldest dated piece of furniture in the country made by a known artist. It wasn't always the rough, aged wood you see today, though. When it was new, it was covered in glittering gold leaf, painted with images of saints and inlaid with colored glass. It would have shone like a priceless jewel, but the centuries have not been kind to its glamour. Over time, the gold and jewels have worn away, revealing the humble oak underneath. But the signs of history run deeper than just wear and tear. If you look closely at the back, you can see faint, crude carvings. These are not the work of medieval craftsmen. They're graffiti left by 18th and 19th century Westminster schoolboys and tourists who, unbelievably, were once allowed to sit on the chair for a small fee. One famous inscription reads, P. Abbott slept in this chair 5 to 6th of July, 1800. The chair has been a witness to, and a participant in, some of Britain's most turbulent moments. It was taken out of the Abbey and used by Oliver Cromwell when he was installed as Lord Protector. It survived a bomb attack, likely by suffragettes in 1914. And during World War II, it was carefully evacuated to the crypt of Gloucester Cathedral to protect it from the Blitz. It truly is a testament to the old is gold philosophy, a functional relic, beaten, carved, and battered, yet still holding its central, irreplaceable role in the monarchy. The coronation chair is more than a seat. It's a time capsule that links us directly to the power, pageantry, and sometimes the irreverence of 1,000 years of history. Welcome back to Old is Gold, where we uncover the incredible stories behind automotive legends. Today, we're not just looking at an old car, we're looking at the beginning. The oldest surviving Audi in the world, the magnificent 1911 Audi Type A. To understand this machine, we have to meet its creator, August Horch. Horch was a brilliant engineer, but he was also uncompromising. He founded his first company, Horch & C, but ultimately left because he refused to cut corners or compromise on expensive, high-quality design. He only wanted to build strong and good cars. But when he founded his second company, he ran into a problem. He wasn't allowed to use his own name. That's when the legendary name Audi was born. The solution came from a friend's son who was studying Latin. He pointed out that Horch is German for listen. The Latin word for listen or hear, Audi. The name stuck, and in April 1910, the company officially became Audi Automobilwerke. Just weeks later, the Type A was produced. This wasn't just a basic runabout, it was the product of a seasoned genius. Horch insisted on engineering innovations that were ahead of their time. The Type A featured a powerful 4-cylinder light metal engine block, a prop shaft drive, all built with the philosophy of reliability and durability. And how did August Horch prove his cars were the best? He raced them. In May 1911, Horch himself drove a Type A in the brutal Austrian mountain race. Out of 75 starters, only 10 finished, but Horch and the Type A won their class. This car was an instant legend, known as a reliable, successful race machine. And that brings us to this specific car. This 1911 Type A was purchased by a technical enthusiast named Paul Palmer Kern. He ordered it with a sporty sport phaeton body and even requested aerodynamic upgrades, a man who clearly appreciated cutting-edge design. Now, for the incredible part, when World War I broke out, the military was confiscating cars. To save his prized possession, Kern did the only thing he could. He disassembled the entire car and carefully hid every piece in his attic. The parts remained hidden in the attic through 2 world wars. Decades passed. It wasn't until after Kern's death, more than 40 years after the car was hidden, that the disassembled parts were discovered. A true barn find. Only this one was in the attic. The components were sent to the National Museum in Prague, where this automotive time capsule was meticulously reassembled. Today, the 1911 Audi Type A stands as a testament to the uncompromising vision of August Horch and the incredible loyalty of its owner. It is literally the cornerstone of the 4 rings we know today. It's not just old, it's foundational. It is truly the oldest surviving piece of Audi gold.